with some local news. The popular Tucson summer hotspot Breakers Water Park is shutting down its summertime business indefinitely. This comes as a huge disappointment to thousands of Tucson children who love the iconic water slides and giant wave pool. Kids, don't be disappointed. Before you know it, you'll find another giant pool to pee in.
I already found one, Tom.
Good for you.
In an effort to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, Dairy Queen is giving away free ice cream at all their non-mall locations while supplies last. A donation to charity will get you a free soft-serve vanilla cone, and just to clarify, they're not asking for sperm donations. They want financial donations.
Believe me, I already tried, so way to inform the public.
Pedro learned that one the hard way.
A Marana bride wearing a white backless wedding dress was arrested on the way to her wedding for driving while being impaired after getting into a car accident where another person suffered minor injuries. Police spokesman Chriswell Scott tweeted, "Don't drive impaired. Till death do we part doesn't need any help." But there are no laws against being impaired while married. And some experts say it might actually help, especially if you live in Marana.
Ooh, Marana Slam.
Marana burn.
The NCAA basketball tournament starts this Friday, and it marks the time of year when people fill out office brackets, compete in bracket pools, place bets with their favorite gambling sports.
I forgot to bet on the upset special. I gotta call my bookie. Sorry, people. Pedro Santa Cruz signing off.
Are you serious?
Hey,
oh
Jimmy.
My God. Oh.
Where's Pete? Where's Pete? Where is he?
You mean Pedro?
I don't speak Spanish. Where is he? Where is he? Pete.
He had to take his sister, his wife is sick, his sister, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Not good, Jimmy. Jimmy boy.
Hey,
There he
Mr.
is.
Tatro.
Your sister wife is sick. That's the third time this week, Pete.
No, I went to place a bet for March Madness.
Oh, thank God. I just came by to see if you made the bet. Gonna make that scratch, Jimmy.
Rich. My name's Rich.
Right. Okay, great. Be more like Pete here, will you?
Yeah, got it, Mr. Tetro.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave you guys to do whatever you're doing, whatever it is you're doing here. Do it better.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Tatro.
Yes, Mr. Tetro.
All right, Jimmy boy, I'll see ya.
That guy that keeps forgetting my name.
It's hard.
Also starting this Friday is the Women's NCAA Basketball Tournament, but you wouldn't know that if you watched ESPN.
Great leader of men.
Men's basketball to the highest standards.
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes.
That's right. Over the last 18 years, ESPN has devoted about 2% of airtime to coverage of women's sports. Looks like the worldwide leader in sports is also the worldwide leader in inequality. ESPN, the extremely special penis network.
I think I have that network. Now, a word from our sponsors. Do you suffer from severe swamp ass? Are you tired of changing your pants all the time? Well, now you don't have to with Tatro's Swamp Ass Powder. Just apply a hefty amount on the problem areas before stepping out into the fiery abyss we call Arizona, and you'll stay dry all day. Tatro's Swamp Ass Powder, from the makers of Tatro's Teas.
You know, I do love the swamp ass powder.
It works.
It works.
It works.
Now in national news, the Pentagon issued a memo with the instruction for President Trump's proposed Washington, D.C. military parade. According to the memo, the parade will feature a fleet of jets, modern and older military vehicles, and soldiers in period uniforms. When told about the period uniforms, Trump said, while he thinks it's funny, he'd never hear the end of it from feminists.
I think it's a good judgment call.
I don't think he knows what period uniforms are.
I think that's a safe bet. The Trump administration is finalizing a Middle East peace plan led by advisor, presidential son-in-law, and 80s movie villain Jared Kushner. Kushner, who came to the White House with no political experience, revealed some of the plan's talking points, which include, just get along with each other, stop doing that jihad stuff, and I'm way over my head with this thing. Save me.
In an interview with 60 Minutes, adult film actress Stormy Daniels said that, "I guess we'll see what happens," in regards to the Trump administration trying to silence her after the claims that she had an affair with Donald Trump in 2005, soon after his son Barron was born. Porn insiders say that Daniels was known for saying, "We'll see what happens," before she filmed her scenes, but that the results were usually not as messy.
I guess it depends on what kind of pizza they ordered.
I guess so.
President Trump agreed to meet with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un this week. This came after a surprise from Kim Jong, who reportedly ordered the country to quickly sweep the streets of entrails. A date has not been set yet, and no one knows what will come up during discussions, but it will likely include a lot of teasing about each other's haircuts.
President Trump reportedly wrote Russian President Vladimir Putin to personally invite him to the Miss Universe pageant in 2013. Putin reportedly planned to attend, but canceled at the last minute after he began feeling self-conscious of his body for the swimsuit competition.
I think he can make up for it in other ways, though. You know, the talent,
Personality,
Personality.
poise, grace.
he's got it all. But the swimsuit could be an issue, I see that. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson was fired this week by President Trump after the two endured a volatile relationship since the start. Tillerson had just returned from a diplomatic trip to Africa where he was reportedly tricked by Trump into eating a shoe, which he was told was a Kenyan delicacy. I have heard that with a little A1 steak sauce, Cole Haans can be quite tasty. So, how's it going?
I've been doing good. How about you?
Pretty good.
This week, UCLA released video of Treasury of Secretary Steven Mnuchin getting heckled at an event meant to boost the Republican tax reform law. Mnuchin had requested they not release the video, and there's a good reason why. Here are some clips from the event.
Cam doing one.
Well, let me first say that the only part of this that I understand that you wanted to hiss was my going to Yale. That parts of the business school, which again I have great respect for. And does that mean you don't like the business school here? I just assume that you're hissing at the business school. Priorities is Treasury Secretary. Can you at least raise your hand when you hiss so at least I can get the general direction of where these things are coming from? Okay, thank you. And thank you for coming today. I administer all the sanctions out of the Treasury Department. So hopefully you're going to hiss about sanctions. We shouldn't have any sanctions. You guys are okay with all the oppression and everything going on in the world? You want to hiss about my sanctions? If you were getting paychecks in February when your withholding went down and you got tax cuts, you wouldn't be hissing. So, and we believe that this is going to have a huge impact on communities. You don't want positive impact on communities? Like, who hissed? Can I at least get a hand of who hissed on that one? Right there. Can we get a little feedback why you don't like opportunity zones?
I think you're full of shit.
Okay.
Was it about the president's approach to the American economy that made you say, I want to work for this guy?
Ignore them.
That's a good point.
Here to try to set the record straight is Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, everyone. Welcome to Scorcher Report, Mr. Mnuchin. Secretary.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Well, I gotta say, what's with the beard? You didn't...
Oh, no, I can't grow a beard. This is shredded burlap. I dipped it in charcoal and I glued it to my face.
Oh, I guess then my question is, why?
Well, it's the hissing. They've been following around ever since the event, and I figured maybe I could disguise myself. That's it. At first, I was telling lighthearted jokes like, "Hey guys, is this Snakes on a Plane?" You're supposed to laugh. You're supposed to laugh. It was a joke.
That sounds terrible. So, how do you deal with that?
Well, I don't go. I stay at home more often, and what do you don't like home? You don't like home? Oh, I get it. At least stand up if you're gonna. Oh, okay. Thank you for coming. Are you Samoan? Welcome to America. Oh, you were born here. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for coming. I'm sorry, I forgot the question. What?
So yeah, how do you deal with this? It's awful. Like, why are you letting these people get in here?
Well,
I'm getting a word
Okay.
from Brendan now. He's telling us.
great. Folks, time to go.
He said to let them stay. He says it'll make great TV. So go on. How do you deal with this hell?
Well, I wouldn't call it hell.
Oh, but it is.
My favorite method for you dealing with this pizza is to occasionally mention things that people like, babies. Oh, you don't like babies? Oh, I'm the bad guy, right? I'm the bad guy. Right. So,
Shame people to stop hissing.
exactly.
And how does that work?
Not so good.
Sounds like a sweet life.
It's not bad.
So does that mean if I occasionally say things people hate, I can make them hiss?
I say, give it a whirl.
Okay, so you're saying wet socks, that if I occasionally speed too, say things that tax plan, no one likes your wife, that I can make Steven Mnuchin people hiss?
I think you just did.
Thanks for coming by, Secretary.
Thank you.
Hey,
This was
good to
lovely.
see you. Good to see you.
Good luck on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Brendan says great things about you.
Oh, that's
Fun guy, huh?
sort of.
Goldman Sachs CEO Lloyd Blankfein may be stepping down after 12 years as head of the most powerful U.S. investment bank. Asked what he'll do after retirement, Blankfein, I guess I'll probably just settle down on some quiet island, then buy up their debt and restructure their government. He also plans to buy a boat.
Ooh.
Okay, we're having some interesting movements here today.
On Sunday night, the Trump administration backed policies that would allow teachers in the state of Florida to carry guns in the classroom while also expanding background checks. The state has been debating these issues in recent weeks and passed a law to raise the minimum age to buy a gun to 21 years old, and is considering a law to allow teachers to have guns in the classroom. The Trump administration went even farther in its policy, asking that teachers receive full combat training and require uniforms with bandoliers.
High five. Trump touted a Fox News report claiming that the border wall would pay for itself. Trump says that with the economy booming under his presidency, the wall will easily be able to find a job and pay it off. Where do you think the wall's going to work? Chipotle?
I think the wall is just going to live off the government, collect food stamps. Popular accessories store Claire's filed for bankruptcy last week before preparing to default on a $60 million tax payment. Claire's is in $2 billion of debt as foot traffic in malls continues to decline. Apollo Global Management, the group that owns the business, declined to comment. However, Claire was quoted as saying, "Oh, but Mom, I don't want to file for bankruptcy."
Her mom's a tough cookie.
And just a reminder, this show is brought to you by Tetro's Travel Totes. The vacuum-sealed bags with revolutionary odor-blocking X-ray protection. Great for bringing powders like sugar and herbs like oregano on that long, exhausting flight.
I've been known to bring some oregano on a flight in my day.
That's not oregano.
Speaking of which, let's move on to international news. British public health officials issued warnings to restaurant goers after a former Russian spy was poisoned, possibly by Russia. The guidelines went as follows. For British citizens, don't eat or drink poison. For non-British citizens, don't eat British food. For Russian ex-KGB spies, don't eat anything.
Pretty simple guide, pretty straightforward.
I can follow that.
Canada accidentally welcomed the arrival of Belgium royals with a German flag. Canada plans to apologize for the next 3 decades while Belgium royals return to their country in the south of Asia. No waffles were harmed in the making of this joke.
Gotta have my waffles. Lego my ego. Another Russian was found dead under mysterious circumstances in London. This time, it was oligarch exile Nikolai Glushkov. British officials say that Glushkov died from 66 stab wounds and a blunt trauma to the head. However, a visiting Russian, why are you laughing? A visiting Russian doctor says that he had a heart attack.
Finally, in entertainment and sports, before we hear the weather, the new Netflix released movie entitled Veronica has some critics calling it, quote, the scariest movie of all time. And Rotten Tomatoes initially gave it a 99 before it just dropped slightly to a 93. The movie is based on a true story where a group of teenagers seek to make contact with spirits through a Ouija board. Although it becomes quite frightening in the third act of the movie when it depicts a not so distant future where Donald Trump is elected for a second term.
Scary.
Scary stuff.
Tom Brady ate his first strawberry and chugged a beer on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert Monday night. Teammates say they haven't heard from Brady since, but they heard he hit rock bottom and is now working at a Circle K and snorting goji berries.
And now it's time. Oh, go ahead,
Oh,
Pedro.
excuse
Go
me,
ahead,
excuse me.
Pedro.
And now we're
Jeez.
gonna hand it off to Kimberly Sunny Burnham for the Tucson 5-day forecast.
Oh, let's hear it, Kimberly. What do you got?
Hi, Tucson. This is Kimberly Sunny Burnham with your 5-day forecast. Am I really going? Is it on? Are we recording? Okay, and it's brought to you by Tetro Tea Tree Oil. Great for burns, rashes, and even cancer. Just don't tell the FDA. Well, you can bet your bottom dollar the sun will come out tomorrow because it is. It's coming out tomorrow with afternoon highs of 75 degrees. Tomorrow, right here, or 76 degrees. And just a tip, that if you don't bet your bottom dollar and you bet it on rain, that remember not to answer your phone or your front door because loan sharks usually call early in the evening. And so when it dips down to degrees about 60, that's what it's gonna be like really fine in the evening. Also, worst case scenario, faking our own death, just to let you know, is a lot easier than it sounds. Oh, okay, for Saturday, it's gonna be sunny again. Sunny, afternoon temps are in the 70s. See, 73 degrees. Sure, there might be clouds in the sky, but you just have to have the right state of mind. You gotta pretend like things don't exist. Like, if the clouds are there, just pretend like it doesn't exist, like I do when I owe taxes. And get ready to bundle up on Sunday because it's going to be a chilly 67 degrees. And I recommend getting a strong, big man or woman to hold tight to until everything's going to be all right. Speaking of which, hey, Pedro, what are you doing Saturday?
Actually, I already have plans to read erotica to some blind referees. And then after that, I will be playing poker with all the news anchors from around town. So sorry, I'm busy.
No, okay. All right, well, Monday, we're back to the low 70s and cloudy. You know what else is cloudy? My vision from last night. Because I'm pretty sure I took home this 86-year-old retired cobbler, and I'm praying to God he is not still in my apartment. And if he's still there, I hope he's breathing. You know what I mean? I'll give you an update next week if he's still breathing. Finally, on Tuesday, sunny again! It's going to be the perfect day with the temperatures of the high 70s and easing down to the mid 60s by night. just a perfect sunny day where nothing can go wrong. Your neighbor will not be doing phone sex right next to your outside of your door. That's right. A sunny, perfect day. All right, that's your Tucson 5-day forecast. How'd I do, Pedro?
Fine.
Are you sure? Did I come off too aggressive?
No.
Am I too desperate?
Well, a little.
Do I look good?
Sure.
Okay, back to you, Pedro.
Well,
Thank
this has been the Scorcher Report. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly.
The Scorcher Report brought to you by Creative Tucson.
Channel 20. Remember to like, share, and subscribe on Facebook, Twitter.
And YouTube. Also, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you've got a hot news tip for us, well, keep it to yourself because we've already got too much work here.
Stay creative, Tucson.
We're out.